I'll start off with, the 3 losses you guys are kind of on, What's been your overall assessment during that time of the team? What stood out in a positive way and in a negative way?
Look, I think the interesting thing is that we probably had a chance for points in all 3 games, right? 2 stoppage time winners against us, and the last game we probably played our best game against Cincinnati out of even all 3 of them. The 2 road games, I think it was NYCFC. I can't remember who the other one was against away that we lost in the end. Who was that against, Nico? Columbus, right, in stoppage time with the PK, and then at home against Cincinnati. And we played really well against Cincinnati, gave it very few chances and lost the game. So the positive is that, a year ago at this time, maybe we're getting it handed to us a little bit. And now I think on the flip side, we're like everybody's circled game at the moment, which is a new territory for our group and our young group. So we're getting everybody's best shot, and you're seeing that really. And for the most part, we've held up, and it's been a really tough period of time for us in particular. The results maybe as a team with losing 3 games, and then you kind of see those results, but then you see now Frankie's training with the first team every day, Neil Pierre's training with the first team every day, CJ Holden's training with the first team, Andy Rick, all the guys that have kind of been playing their trade and been in our group on an everyday basis are no longer in our group on an everyday basis, and now we're kind of pulling it together. And this is a time of year, if you look at the first 2 seasons, where we do typically have a little bit of a stumble with the college guys taking off, with the younger guys coming in, and with, in particular this year, with all the international stuff going on, the first team pulling guys from us a little bit more than they typically do. And we probably aren't as in sync as we were a month ago as a group in terms of getting the train together all the time and getting to play together all the time. So all that said, for us to still be competitive, for us to still be in every single match, and a couple cases leading, unfortunately, or at least a point away, close to getting a point, if not 2. And looking at penalties, we've lost them at the end there. But I think the results on the individual side have been pretty darn good too. So really pleased for a lot of the guys. Gavin Wetzel's come a long way. That's been a positive. He gets his first goal, and he's gotten a lot of minutes with Frankie not being as available, right? Some of the young guys that have gotten to play a lot more with not having David, not having CJ for a couple games, that's been a positive as well, and getting them some experience. We'd like to get them more minutes rather than some situational minutes. Those 10, 15 minutes don't necessarily do a whole lot for them because they're coming in at a time period where they don't get to be free and they don't get to play, and we don't really want to put them in those kind of positions to close games out. But they're still really good minutes nonetheless.
So I'll ask this. So Eddie Davis is apparently in Denmark right now. Is there anything you can comment on that?
I don't know a whole lot to make that comment about it. Obviously, we have a relationship with Lyngby. So that's, I'm sure, from a sporting side, from both sides, been kind of set up for him to have this experience. But I think people always worry or comment that we're losing kids to Europe. I think Jim is on the record, Ernst is on the record, that we love the fact that we have kids that want to go play in Europe and play at the highest levels, and we certainly wouldn't stand in anybody's way. But also, there are opportunities for these guys to go out and enjoy these experiences and go through these experiences, because you need to do it a first time in order to find some success, right? And the first time is always the hardest for all of these guys when they go over to a new environment, new culture, you don't speak the language, all those kind of things. And so to expect one trial for them to be successful would probably be a little bit short-sighted on our part, but also for them. So these experiences are great experiences for them, and I'm absolutely happy for Eddie that he gets to go through this experience.
Absolutely. And then with Chicago coming to town, you guys have had some close games early this season. How would you assess them as a team, and what stood out to you scouting them, and then kind of what's your message been to the team?
Yeah, really good team. I think, interestingly enough, their Leagues Cup and Olympic / U20 situation was kind of similar to ours. They pulled 3-4 guys up last week in their Leagues Cup matches that they didn't have to go to Red Bull with. Sergio Orahel was with David at the under-20 championships. And so they haven't been at full strength recently, similar to us. but I think the Chicago from the beginning of the year is the real Chicago. And
right.
So when they've got all their players available to them, they're really, really good. We're one of the best teams that we've played this year. Interestingly enough, our second half there, and it seems like ages ago now, we were outstanding in the second half of that game. It was one of the best halves that we've probably played all year long. I thought they kicked our tails the first half when we played them out there. And I thought we were complete opposite in the second half, and we were outstanding in the second half against them.
Good. And then you kind of mentioned earlier, first comment about, everybody's got you guys circled. With such a young team, how do you kind of, with young players, say, hey, look, it's okay, coach speak more so, but just keeping them grounded, like, yes, everybody's got us circled, but, we can still stay confident, maintain, and, with such young players,
Yeah, that's what keeps me up a lot, because I have to try and find a way to make it sound fresh every week,
right.
Because I think it doesn't change for us, and we don't get any older than 19, like, ever.
Yeah.
And we only get younger when we have everybody available to us, so it's kind of ironic, we're actually better when we're younger too sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with these guys, we really tell them we don't really look at them any differently than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we didn't already go out and do so well with young teams against some of these older teams earlier in the year, it would be harder to convince them if we were failing in those moments. But the fact that we found success, it's easier for me to go and say it doesn't matter. We're better, But I think what's happening now is perhaps maybe a little bit of an underestimation when teams play against us, that, well, we're younger, Kevin's 14, what's a freaking 14-year-old going to do? And then all of a sudden he's past you within a blink of an eye. That element of surprise is probably gone a little bit now, and I don't think teams are looking at us as a young team anymore. They're just looking at us as one of the top teams in the league now. And so we've got to deal with that and like a little bit of more of a bullseye versus an unexpected overachievement, And from now until the end of the year, I promise you we'll continue to overachieve. The expectation, I think, is more just in-house that we want to still be the best team in the league, no matter what the situation is with us from an age standpoint.
All right.